Doing?
I'm good, Randy. Good to see you, man.
Absolutely. Good to be seen. Really excited to have you here for our episode 108 of Tech Sales Insights. And seems like just yesterday we started this, huh?
It's phenomenal how far you've come, and kudos on your commitment to this community and all the great guests that you've had over the, last 2-3 years now?
Yeah, a couple of years, I guess, whatever, COVID. Anyway, so by way of formal introduction, David Nour, as he prefers to be called, is CEO of the Nour Group, and he's also at Emory University as a affiliate faculty for strategy, leadership, and innovation. I know he's very passionate about the work he does there at Emory. And today we're going to be covering a lot of topics, but you can see in the background over your, right shoulder, we're going to be getting some great insights from your new book, Relationship Economics, the third edition. And unlike some books that are just a reprint, yours is actually really rewritten. So for those that have the others, this one is still definitely worth getting for sure. And it's coming out, mid-February?
February 14th, Valentine's Day. Different kinds of relationships, but February 14th.
There you go. All right. I guess I know what Wendy's going to be getting wrapped, huh?
in a box of 10 of them.
Yeah, just make sure it's a Tiffany light blue box.
There you go.
How good would that be? And we've got as our title topic, your network, your net worth, and your business relationships. So certainly will be a great topic for sure. We're sponsored by Convertive, who's the sales and marketing as a service sponsor of Sales Community. And for those that are members of Sales Community, thanks so much. For those that are not, we have a little special going. You can go to salescommunity.com, look in the upper left-hand corner, and you can hit winter free, and you get a free year membership. And if you don't want the free one, you can hit the one above that where you can pay. I strongly recommend doing the free one. So also by way of introduction, so Nour lives in the Atlanta area. And besides work, he is an avid motorcyclist, which is super scary and freaky. The pictures that I've seen has recently been tutored by Jen and has become an avid fly fisherman. And I know from being with your family, you're also a very avid skier. And we're trying to figure out when we first met. I think it was at a Sun Partner conference, and I was not one to sit in the front row, but I was there and I took all these notes. I'm like, well, we got to connect. So since then, which was probably around 11, 12 years ago, you've been a longtime friend and mentor and executive coach. So certainly thanks for your help on my personal and professional journey as well.
My pleasure. It's been great to spend time with you, from ski slopes to Martha's Vineyard and everywhere in between.
Exactly. And his experience spans several areas from relationships to strategy, and also does a exercise called the visualization board that hopefully we'll get time to talk about as well. We've mentioned a little bit, but as a great wife, Wendy, 2 children, Justice, who's in Athens at University of Georgia, that's just, I think, just down the road from Tuscaloosa somewhere, right? Somewhere there. And also Grayson, daughter, who's in New Zealand right now, and have had the pleasure to spend time with all of them, and certainly a wonderful family. And back in the early days, you helped me put together these. What we're doing now is Tech Sales Insight and these podcasts. So certainly, I'm very thankful for your help, as you're pivotal to get that going, and as my partner in crime in the early days. So thank you for that as well.
My pleasure. It's been a great journey. It's been fun. Very kind of you to mention the family, and they all say hello, by the way.
Hello. So maybe we jump in. I'd like to cover, if we can, maybe tell us a little bit about what your actual first job was.
Oh my gosh. Early on, I did a lot of different works. The one that's probably most relevant to this conversation, I was a System 36, System 38 systems engineer at IBM, supporting Profs, which was their ugly green screen email system. This is going back to, mid 80s. And then I got an inside sales job at Computerland selling 286s. and Novell networks and Hayes modems and 5.25-inch floppies. And so those were a couple of the early jobs in the tech space.
I remember we used to sell at a EMC plug compatible memory, and the System 38 was like, I think it was $7,500 per megabyte, if you can believe that we would sell. And I remember the models where I think it was like an 8, 12, 20, 40 or something like that. But I don't know if we ever actually talked about that. And then what about from there? Maybe briefly cover your career.
Yeah, I've always been passionate about technology. So let's see, IBM, then Silicon Graphics, then my own stint selling animation kind of technology. Then I went to Silicon Graphics at SGI, covered Disney, and was down in Orlando with them, and then software side, business objects. And then, Randy, I saw guys twice my age doing the same thing, and I said I wanted more. So I went the consulting route before PwC became PwC, and I went to Emory for the executive MBA program, president of a company, went up to New York, raised a round of funding, and then spent some time with a private equity firm that moved us to several different cities. And then I hung my own shingles in 2002, and it's crazy to believe this is year 21 of the business, really helping CROs, CMOs, look at and really focus on intelligent and profitable growth. A lot of coaching, a lot of speaking, a lot of books, a lot of developing leaders to become the best version of themselves. And that's been the journey. And I've had a front row seat from obviously the internet bubble, 2008 recession, to now more recently, the challenges and opportunities that you see in the market.
Oh, that's great. And I've got a great intro comments from Jen as well, who's your leader for the RevOps practice we'll talk about later. And also, Avid doesn't do it justice, but she's captain of the U.S. fly fishing team, right?
Yeah, U.S. women's fly fishing team. She's done phenomenal in that space.
So she can do that. RevOps is a no-brainer. So anyway, she says, as the authority on strategic business relationships, Nour truly embodies the advice he shares and genuinely pushes every leader to become the best version of themselves. I can vouch for that. And working with CROs and CMOs over the past 20 years, he has built a fantastic reputation as a strategic advisor, executive coach, and educator. The Nour Group focuses on enabling intelligent and profitable growth for our global clients through growth strategy advisory work, complemented by RevOps and data intelligence, and supported by other exciting new offerings like learning expeditions, which we'll talk about. I'm proud to call him my business partner and look forward to great success to come for our team in 23 and beyond as we evolve the Nour Group together. So,
wow,
how cool is that? Huh?
That's the nicest thing she said about me. Very, very kind.
Well, I've been writing, so I'll make sure I send it to you. So maybe touch on the Nour Group and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm blessed. As I mentioned, this is year 21 of our business, and with Jen's addition on the RevOps side, a lot of my work comes from either people that hear me speak, that read any of the number of books, or you were kind enough and as our others refer, introduce, whether it's coaching or the growth advisory work or RevOps to other executives. So we don't go in with any preconceived notions. We have a great initial conversation of what's not clicking, what's not working. Through the research, Randy, through over 100 executive conversations, we found that inevitably almost every business is seeking to become a recurring revenue model, not just the tech SaaS businesses who already are, but think of traditional or maybe more mature industries, mature companies that are going beyond that CapEx transactional sale to now an OpEx offering that encompasses much more value. Well, to do that, you have to build great relationships and you have to earn that trust and you have to earn that business almost every year that renewal comes up. So we build this customer lifecycle maturity model that we kind of now benchmark clients against. How well are you creating awareness? How well do you create engagement and evaluation? You've heard me talk to executives that the relationship really starts when they buy. So how do you then really help create adoption and impact in their business? And only when you create material impact in their business will then they become evangelists. And they'll carry the flag for you and not just renew, but really deepen the relationship. You'll build stronger barriers to entry by other competitors. And they have to feel that they're better off because of you. So in that kind of life cycle journey that looks like an infinity loop, we go in and we assess what's working, what's not working independently, and really help them raise the bar and that maturity through our scorecards, through our benchmarks, and really bring battle-tested best practices in that growth strategy. And I got to tell you, I don't know any organization that can cut its way to growth. So I get excited in working with leaders who want to grow themselves.
I've tried.
You and I both. So I work with leaders who want to become both the best of themselves in how they lead, but also their teams, the leadership teams, their organizations. And it's all intended to fuel enterprise growth and enterprise value.
Yep. Fantastic. And our title topic is your network, your net worth, and business relationship success. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about the relationship side and the network side, but how does net worth play in that?
No question. If you think of the critical junctures in our lives, getting that first job, getting a bigger job, managing a team, maybe your first P&L, maybe running a functional group or a business unit. A lot of CROs I know are ripe to become COOs or CEOs, that next big leap in your realm of responsibilities. Every one of these that impacts your personal and professional growth, as well as the economic model in terms of your compensation, I would submit is going to come through a few, but really strategic relationships. These are relationships that you work with at EMC that, again, I got to tell you, you're the poster executive of what I convey of nurturing those over time, because their careers evolve and they become, Peter McKay, and they become Peter Bell, and they become some of the guests you've had that likewise have been incredibly successful. And in turn, I remember Dave Donatelli at HP that I think worked for you. And then at HP, he became kind of your executive. Those relationships revolve and evolve, and they directly contribute to our happiness, to our well-being, as well as our financial success in many ways.
No, that's great. And but by the way, I don't know if you felt a tremor a couple of weeks ago, but Dave's actually on LinkedIn finally.
I had to pick myself off the floor of, after all these years, it's good to see him there.
Yeah. And then I know while you're, kind of name dropping some of the great execs you've worked with, I know Bill Hogan has also used you really well at some of the executive offsites and kind of for a lot of that kind of team chemistry and focus and strategy and what are we going to do to execute and things like that as well, right?
I'm a huge Bill Hogan fan. I mean, again, I look for, when I meet executives, do they just talk about some of these things or do they live it? And I got to tell you, I was blessed to speak at an event with General McChrystal, Stanley McChrystal, and he talked about plywood leadership. And what he meant was, in theaters, they use plywood to build these structures. And he was talking about the adaptability and agility of it. Executives like Bill Hogan, at Beyond Identity Now, live it. They live relationships. It exudes, through everything they do. And it's not a facade. It's not a front. It's not a pretend. It's who they are. And what you see with Bill is what you get. And he again, I love that more recently he's brought some of the executives that he worked with in previous roles into the company, because again, those are relationships that he can count on, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's great. So moving on. So you had curve benders, you had the original relationship economics. That was fantastic. That I'm a total disciple of. And it's, I'd argue it's a timeless classic. So why and how did you do the third edition?
Yeah. So you're kind. Wiley reached out. We've done well with the original relationship economics that actually came out in 2008. I wrote the second edition, the paperback, in 12 with probably about 40% new content. And then in conversation with Wiley, they said, listen, this global pandemic has obviously had an impact on business relationships. What do you think? And would you be interested in a completely rewrite? And that's exactly what I did. So it started during the pandemic. I interviewed over 100 executives, learned a lot of insights about how they were able to maneuver the constant uncertainty through their relationships. I practiced a lot of that myself. And then really thinking a lot about post-pandemic growth strategies, both, again, as an individual, as a team, as an organization, as well as, the advent of technology. You and I see a lot of AI and ML-based platforms, and the intent is to engage and influence and really nurture relationships. So I thought several of these topics were important enough to now incorporate. And just like our business relationships evolve, so have the approaches and how to be really efficient, effective, impactful in nurturing them. Hence the new edition with the green cover.
Oh, that's awesome. And then I don't know if Tucker has it teed up, but there's probably a link that he can get up while we're talking about it as well, right?
Yeah, there's I'm obviously we're trying to create awareness for it and a lot of good discussions around it, and I can share a link with Tucker as well to post of folks who can get it from anywhere. You can order from your retailers, and we'll include a couple of great nuggets, new bonus material in there as well.
Awesome. And if anybody, I guess, wants a Reader's Digest version, in my book, you go to Sales Advisor, you have on, let's see, what are we like? Page 53, Relationship Economics. And I think it really sums it up nicely in terms of why it's valuable. You talk about gratitude, reciprocity, and paying it forward. So that, those things really have nothing to do with selfish. Why is it good for me? It's all about why is it good for you or whoever I'm working with, right?
It's exactly right. And Randy, I've always believed that most of what we all need to know about business relationships, believe it or not, we learn in kindergarten, right? We were taught to share. We were taught to be nice to other people. We were taught to, and yet as we kind of mature through our education and early career, we absorb kind of the behaviors that we see in other leaders. And you start to see silos, and you start to see fiefdoms, and you start to see, functional kind of, this is our sandbox, don't mess with this, and this is our office or geography, we don't want to do what they're doing. And that's not really conducive to building and nurturing collaborative relationships. The other thing that I've always really been an advocate of is we got to stop calling these things soft skills, because we've quantifiably proven that relationships can accelerate go-to-market. Relationships can accelerate you identifying and recruiting exceptional talent. Relationships can dramatically shorten ramp-up time and time to cash. So it is quantifiable, it's essential, and still, it is not taught in many organizations. And we believe it can be a teachable skill. So becoming stronger advocates of people building relationships means you got to teach it, you got to reinforce it, as a leader, you got to model it, but you also have to measure it. And ideally, you compensate for it. If you do those things, it becomes a lot more impactful in the organization.
Yeah, well, that's you're making a big leap that you're assuming that organizations these days actually do performance managing and they actually do.
That is correct. That is a big assumption on my part, that great managers and great leaders are always coaching and always looking for coaching moments, looking for opportunities to. And I got to tell you, you probably have seen the same thing. The last 3 years, with all of us having to adapt to different ways of working, that's become increasingly more difficult, because we're not down the hallway and we're not seeing each other. And I do believe increasingly we are going to go back to the office and interact more, but we've missed that opportunity. It's very difficult to build and sustain great cultures remotely. So you've got to find reasons, you got to find opportunities to reconnect, key members of the team, and really show them the power of that connection and that collaboration.
Yeah. Well, you would think it's almost like you would think because of virtual and everything else, leaders would oversteer around that kind of coaching and managing and giving and getting feedback. It seems like the opposite has happened. Everybody's kind of run for the hills. Oh, I don't want to offend somebody. But to me, it's just crazy. What do you say?
Yeah, it's a real missed opportunity. And again, think about it. We've allowed social distancing to become relational isolation, right? And we, again, that I was talking to another great dad who said, my kid is on his third job and he's never gone into an office. So every job he's had so far has been remote. And what he's missing out on are the camaraderie and the interactions and all of those opportunities to learn and absorb. And by the way, there's some great leaders that model fantastic relationship building behaviors that this next generation, those that are certainly in the spring and summer of their careers, are not able to pick up on, because we're not going on sales calls and going to see people and bringing the next generation into meetings. And again, it's a real missed opportunity to develop the next generation.